Hey y'all, we are the Table for Three podcast, and welcome back to another episode. We are going to get into the latest episode of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. It was a mess. It was a mess, and I am going to let Simone lead this mess and guide us through it.
Lead the way, Simone.
You call it a mess, I call it a doozy. This episode was kind of boring in my opinion, but I mean, we kind of needed boring. So, this episode picks off where it left off last week. The fight with Shamia and Portia, the ladies are broken up. Portia is at the table still going off. She blah blah blah. And Kelly and Shamia have left and Shamia's crying and yeah, Kelly says Portia is crazy. Shamia is hysterical. What are y'all thoughts about this?
Let's say this. It takes two to tango, right? So let's just keep it a buck. Okay. Both of them just need to sit their asses down and reason. Because regardless of what they had, right, I don't think Shamia should have brought the conversation of the moms in here, right? Because one, it was high of emotions. Because now she didn't only just talk about Portia's mom, right, but you talk about your parents as well. They mind your own business. Like it's just. And I watched an episode on Watch What Happens Live, and she was talking about how her mom was disappointed, her dad was old. And I'm like, see, because if we don't go that route, right, it wouldn't happen like this, you know. And granted, yes, a lot of people are kind of like missing the timelines about whoever brought like the whole mama conversation on screen. And yes, it was Shamia, right? She was just telling Cynthia, she was just expressing to Cynthia. She did not say anything bad about Portia's mom. She did not. She was just expressing herself, right? But of course, in real time, when you're watching it, you see someone reference your mama, and especially like you guys being like in a very not so good place, your emotions are very high. So that's why Portia also sent out the tweet she sent out. I think it was on IG, right? But people forget that that's what started the whole thing, right? People think Portia just went out, but it was like it was after an episode because we didn't see prior to that episode, right? So that's what it carried on into like the whole reunion and all the mamas back and forth, you know. But I will say this. I remember like Portia said something at the table, and you guys quote me if I'm wrong. She did say that whatever she and Shamia has on I mean, whatever the parents have has nothing to do with them, right? And I think at that point, maybe Shamia could have kind of like not even bring the mamas up at all or say anything at all, right? Because again, it's like you guys are fighting over what your parents stuff that happened years ago.
If can I be honest, I think that there's so much context that was left out of that
It's
entire fight.
missing for sure.
And I think that and this is just me, and I even made that notation, and we'll get into. I'm gonna point out something later in the episode that happened, but production is leaving out so much context. They are slicing and dicing this
One hundred
episode
percent.
to work in favor of Portia, and I'ma just. I said what I said, and I ain't even
I mean, you
changing it.
keep it real, so I mean, we are watching. We are just viewers, right? So that's what
Yeah,
we
like
see.
I think that so much is being cut in favor of Portia, and I don't think that we're getting the full context of why Shamia went from I hope that this wouldn't affect our daughters to your mama tried to sleep with my daddy. Like I think that there's so much in between. I don't think that nobody will go from 0 to 100 like that for no reason. I do think that Portia said some things that production might have cut out, and that's what led Shamia to get to that point. However, I don't agree with the way that Shamia brought it to the table, especially if her initial concern was not letting their problems affect their daughters. I think that that's something she should have did like in a one-on-one with her and Portia. But let's be honest, Portia wasn't trying to have a conversation with her at all. But that's my that's my take on it.
Also, I think I don't know if you guys there was a little flash, like a replay of a part where she was telling I think Cynthia, right? She was telling Cynthia like even though she can't get Portia, like something that reference like she can still have what's called Pilar around through Dennis. I mean that alone it was just a quick scene, so I'm like, okay, what actually got to that conversation, right? Because it's like we are watching it, but we're not gonna like you said, we're not gonna like the full story to make our minds like, okay, this is where it started from, and that's why we are here. But again, I'll still put on both of them because ain't no way a good friend of mine will end up on
Mom,
TV and this is gonna be our downfall. Like there's
yeah,
no way.
yeah.
I'm
And
sorry,
See,
when you
but
say
I
using,
do believe they yes, like I've said before, I do believe their breakdown started back in season 9, I think they didn't really sit down to talk about how both of them felt, because I'm sure Shamia was pretty much upset or hit about like the whole alleged thing about she and other people and Candy also alleged stuff, right? And maybe Portia, I mean, her response to Portia also probably like affected Portia. Let's be honest, that could have been a reason, but they didn't sit down to talk about this genuinely to know where it was going. And in season 9, when we are in season 17, that shit was out. Like,
Leaning more to like I'm not picking a side, but I can sympathize and empathize with Shamia so much. Y'all people keep saying, "Oh, she shouldn't have did it." When she should have did it then. Portia don't want to talk to her. And what we have seen and what I have said last week, this is a buildup. Portia literally is
100%.
trying to ice this girl out, and it's like, I don't know. I'll just reflect back on me because I don't know what Shamia is feeling, but I feel like it's closely aligned to what I'm about to say. I feel like she's been chasing after Portia, like, oh, let's talk, let's be friends. We've seen this.
Yes.
It has paid her dust. She's being mean, and I think what really set Shamia off when they were talking about like Portia's daughter. Portia had her daughter around Simon, a strange man that she didn't even know. So for her to sit there and say Shamia is unsafe when out of Portia's mouth she was there at her daughter's birth is like crazy. And
They both
I
were
mean,
at each
it's
other's.
gonna come out and yeah, emotional maturity, but sometimes you don't have it. Shamia didn't have it. And I'm not gonna fault her for it because when has Portia, I don't know, I'm just thinking about all the times Portia has not handled things in the best light. She's accused someone of sexual assault. She's dragged someone on the reunion stage. This lady has done so
And then
much.
that.
And it's like the goalpost moves for Shamia and it's not right. So I lean more towards Shamia and I'm like, I don't care. Really.
No, I mean, you do have a point. You do have a point, okay? Because again, like you said, I mean, as you guys know, filming can take up to 16 hours a day, right? And we only get like 45 minutes out of it, okay? So what we see is the only thing we can actually base off it, right? And sometimes there are little back and forth fights on social media, okay? That's all. But Simone, you did say something. Emotional maturity, I think both of them are actually lacking it, right? Because if I ain't trying to fuck with you, if you say something, I'm not gonna be there. I'm not gonna be because I'm not gonna let you trigger me to say something else, right? And I
Exactly.
think, and I could be wrong, I think Portia was trying to play that, but it didn't work out for it because it's like Portia, people know what you've done before, right? So if like you trying not to like engage, it's not coming off like you're not trying to engage. It's coming off as like you are trying to like ice Shimmy out, and that's what a lot of
Hmm.
people are thinking and feeling because it's like you can just say hey hi and just be done. Like you don't have to be best friends, you don't have to be because over the time of the season, if you guys realize, even scenes where they were like next to each other, I'm like are y'all both strangers? Because you ain't got to be like besties and hug. Hey, like be a little welcoming to each other. But I didn't see that. Even when they went to like the game where it was called Drew had to sing the national anthem, they were sitting next to each other. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I'm like,
Hmm.
this is sad.
But can I say this? I think that, and I've said this, and I'm gonna keep saying it because I keep noticing a pattern. Portia is playing the reality TV long game because what she is doing is that she's making it seem like, see, I can be around her. See, I can be in the same space. And Shamia's the one with the problem. I'm trying to play it cool. That's the game that she's playing. And what she's doing is that she's dropping these little bitty moments with other people. Meaning how she mysteriously made up with Kelly. How
And
she
I'm not gonna
mysteriously
lie.
made up with, huh?
I'm not gonna lie. I think that actually set Shamia off
Oh,
emotionally.
absolutely, that
E-
did, and I think that that was Portia's end goal. That was her end goal, was to trigger her because how can, if somebody is my best friend, it's no way in the hell that I would discard them the way that Portia's done Shamia. Like, and then you didn't have fights with more fights with Kelly for less when y'all was talking about she was cheating with this, you was cheating this, African mid, African this, like you forgave her for that. And y'all had this little fake Iyanla Van Zandt fix my life kumbaya moment in that bedroom trying to pray and send up the prayers. I think that was intentional, and I think it was more so intentional that she brought it back to that luncheon to say like we want to be your sisters. I think it's all been intentional.
Well, and like
Yeah,
she was like Simone said, the main word right here is emotional maturity. They are just trying. It's like you did me wrong, I'm gonna do you wrong, right? So it's like they both don't see where they are both playing a part into this, right? It's like I do you wrong, you're gonna do me wrong. So honestly, I feel like until they sit down, which I doubt is going to happen, until they kind of like come to them like, okay, now yeah, it ain't gonna happen at this point. I don't think it's gonna happen. But I think if it was a possibility and they both sit down without people and listen to each other, they can be like, you know what, I did you wrong. Honestly, I mean, who cares who wrong whoever first? If you guys can sit down and fix it your damn self without us being involved, that's it. Because honestly, I'm about tired of them fighting every episode. Even Pinky was like, she told me,
yeah, I agree. And personally, I don't think it's gonna happen, which is why I love the scene where Shamia and Kelly roll up in the club and Shamia is dancing. And I was like, yes, girl, stick it
I
to
don't
them,
like that.
unbothered. And Portia sees her, she gets mad, she runs out the club, and all the other girls run after her. I
Can
was
I
but
tell
let's be
you?
honest.
because Portia talk all that mess, but now you want to run when you see Shami in the club. Like, stand in it.
But can I tell you why I don't like that? I'm gonna be very brief. I'm gonna get A to Z real quick. I don't like that because
Wait,
Shamia.
which part you don't like? Shamia's part
Come to the
or
club.
I'm gonna get to it. I'm gonna get to all that. That's why I said I'm gonna go A to Z very quickly. I don't like. They could play a montage of Shamia flipping the table, knocking over the pot, walking out crying. I'm sick of that. If you're going to flip the table, not physically, not literally, but in a sense of if you're going to shift things at the table, shift things and stay at that damn table. Don't shift things and get to walking out crying, talking about this your real life. I understand this is your real life, but you need to, if you're going to start something, you need to also
You
be
better
able to
finish it.
finish it and sit there. And her
You
walking
started it.
back in that club, dancing, I thought that was a bunch of bullcrap. Like, girl, y'all could have stayed at the hotel.
No, it was
no?
because
She had to show up for work. She needs to get her check and
no,
show these girls. Oh
no, but
well,
still
I'm
though, it's a
still
way to do
here.
that. It's a way to do that because it's like let's be honest, they left the dinner table, right? Our tensions are still high. So there's no way in this world that if I push you off, I'm gonna walk somewhere that you are right there, and I'm gonna be walking in front of you and do because guess what? If Portia would have swung that night, it would have been a whole fucking issue at that point. And now we
Well,
got
if
the
she would have swung, it would have been on her because who are they, in my opinion, to try to ice Shamia out of a scene? Like it's a
Oh, I
no,
scene.
agree
I
with
don't think
you.
it's about
Work,
this
go
scene.
to work.
Yeah, I don't think we're disagreeing on that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
I was glad
yeah.
that she showed up. I was like,
No,
good, she's
showing up,
here.
absolutely. But like I know, I mean, honestly, I know my limits. Okay, I know when I piss people off, I know where to go and when not to go. Right. But in this way, if honestly, if Shamia, let's just see, just the way we saw it on TV, because Shamia was talking about in her confession about how they didn't support it, blah blah blah, and all the ladies are posting the video. So I'm like, girl, you know how this is TV. Sometimes you got to be smart about what you just say. Hey, I felt like I didn't feel much more supported right when it was on my turn, and we get that part. But you saying they were not there and like they literally have to show the videos, I'm like, girl, now it makes you look like you looking
Yeah.
crazy. I don't
Yeah,
know
Yeah.
if you
I
guys
would.
saw it, but I was like, oh, Shami, I wish
Oh
you
no,
didn't say
everything
that.
came out on social media afterwards. Even like they was posting the videos for context.
Yeah, I
I
wish
would.
you didn't. I wish you would have said I felt like I didn't have the ladies' support in that moment and that night, right? And I feel like maybe they supported Portia more than they did with me. And it's fine to say that because, of course, we know what happened. Like we're not blind. We saw everything happen. So you expressing that, it's for us to be like, you know what, we got you. We understand where you're coming from. But you saying something else, I know sometimes we get it. You know, the film over the course of like multiple weeks and it's confession like very short and stuff like that. You know, so yes, you might have felt, but I'll just say, hey, I felt like I wasn't being supported, and that's it. And again, everybody is seeing Shamia to be begging for a friendship, which I agree. If someone I've been friends or sister for all these years, and I'm feeling this type of way, I'm going to keep doing it just to like get to resolve. But
I
Portia
ain't
ain't
gonna be
trying to get.
begging.
I mean,
Yeah.
You ain't got to tell
The
me but once. You
I
don't
will
want to be
say
friends.
it's
Shamia, the
not
only thing
abusive.
I would say Shamia is wrong on, she said something. She did say, I don't know why the other ladies are mad. Okay, Drew don't like her because last season they got into it behind Portia. Angela doesn't like her because she laughed when Portia said she'll F Charles, and Phaedra just don't like her.
Well, I
So
think
Yeah,
I
if
but
she
think she
said,
was wrong on that part because the ladies they don't like her. So
but
of
you
course, if they see Portia leaving, they're gonna follow suit because they don't like Shamia,
and I
even
think
though
that's
Angela
that was her
really don't
context
have
though.
a reason.
I think that
yes,
was her context when she
yeah,
said
but
she doesn't
also
understand why they're mad.
yeah, but also Shimmy has to remember, like we know once they're done with the season, I mean once it's done filming, they do these interviews, right? Most of the interviews she kept talking about Angela, right? So regardless of you guys like saying sorry, right? You can't tell people how they're gonna react to what you say, right? And I wish she'd just say, you know what, because Angela said this, I also feel like I want to get her back, and that's it. So if you guys notice, Angela being on Shamia's neck this season is because she's like, you think you were smart? I'm gonna keep getting your neck. Basically, that's what is happening. I don't know if you guys agree, but literally that's how I see it to be.
Mhm.
Mm.
So in the next thing, well, the next point, Phaedra and Portia, they have a talk. Portia, Phaedra is telling Portia she needs to calm down. In my mind, I feel like she was telling Portia, calm down. I don't want this drama on my dinner. So they decide to break the girls up.
Basically,
Portia, Pinky, K. Michelle, Drew. Who's the other one? Angela. They go to the backyard spa. I'm sorry, I really forgot about Angela. It really slipped
you
my
mean
mind.
Big
And then
Ange?
Big Ange, and then Phaedra decides to take Cynthia, Shamia, and Kelly to a famous Scotland cemetery, but she can't name not one famous person that's been buried there. And actually, I did not like that they went to a cemetery. Like they could have done something better.
Maybe she's
Well,
a
it was
Harry
on
Potter.
brand for Phaedra. But can we backtrack just a little bit because I want to point out
Yeah,
where I talk about indiscrepancies in production. If we noticed at the top of that next morning, Shamia and Kelly came walking in with their bags and had on
yeah.
their bags in their hand like they slept
And watch
somewhere
me in the
else.
next episode.
Like the next morning. That's what I'm saying. The next
Yeah,
morning.
but I'm saying that scene, watch it be in a whole different episode, and you're gonna be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So much context is being cut by production because that leads me to believe that you separated them and you had them sleep at a hotel while they stayed here at the house. And
Yeah, I think they
that's what
did.
makes me furthermore believe that context and other parts of that conversation, that argument that happened between Portia and Shmi at that table, a lot was cut out. A lot was cut out.
Yes.
But let's switch
No,
back
it
gears
is.
to the cemetery thing.
No, it is. I mean, even though I'm not gonna lie, the cemetery and like the whole backyard was, I feel like it was a little bit like less. It wasn't too
They could
heavy.
kept
It
that.
was kind of like fun. I was like, okay, yeah. I think the only fun part about the backyard was the fact that they actually didn't know where they were going. They end up like the whole different spot, and they're like, oh no, this is not a spot. I was like, okay, that's cool. A little, less heavy things to do. I was like, okay, we good on this one, right? And I mean, them going to the cemetery, I'm like, okay. And I don't know if you guys can quote me if I'm wrong. I don't know if Shamia remembers how everything went down at the dinner table because when she was talking to Cynthia, it was like she was referring to like maybe she doesn't know how it started, but like you said, Willie, a lot of things have been cut out. So we don't even know A from B, C to Z. It's like we just go on the floor at that point.
Yeah. And I'm tired of Shami apologizing. Like
That's what I was about to
I
say.
I
I'm just
am
so over it.
tired.
He
Like I'm
is
tired.
an
I
official
want her to stand on
apologizer.
business so bad and just stand on it. I am so tired of Shami apologizing. Like she almost reminds me, and this is no disrespect to her. It comes off like a child, like they do something like I'm so sorry. Okay, no, if you're gonna do it, stand on it. Like stop apologizing. And she
And
keeps
so deep.
we need to do an apology counter for how many times Shamita apologized. I actually was kind of pretty through with her after last season. She went on YouTube and apologized, but that's a whole different topic. But okay, so yeah,
I'm
so
just
then
saying
after they
this.
do that boring scene, then we get to this dinner. I felt like
But y'all know what I want to talk about as well when we're getting ready.
Wait, are we talking about the dinner? Because I want to go back to when the girls were in the car. Because Phaedra, I feel like she tried to make it seem like everything is Shamia's fault, and it's
oh
not.
yes, I didn't like that.
I didn't like that. I'm like, Phaedra did tell Shamia that back in the day Pinky was eating meat. And it's like they want to take all
Well,
these little
No,
instances.
she didn't say that
No,
technically.
no,
no,
no. She said she owned a
a
beef
A
vegan,
jerky
Jamaican
place.
spot.
yeah,
A
a
Jamaican.
barbecue spot, something, yeah. But that's what happens with the game of telephone, right?
Yeah,
And I
and I
hate it.
felt like it was a joke. Like, how you gonna have a restaurant? You gonna own a restaurant and not eat the food you sell?
Yeah, because
I
I
don't.
think if I remember, I think Fredo was just kind of like just talking about how Pinky used to own it, and like she was just like kind of like giving a reference, right? And I don't think she was trying to be shady, honestly, because it sounded like just like a reference to who she knew Pinky for back in the day, right? But of course, that's what I'm saying. Shamia ended up being the one who delivered the information, right? But also Kelly also budged in, and so it's like, oh, now Shamia, guess what? They're gonna put it on you. You
Mm-hmm.
get what I'm saying? But it wasn't, so see how it came up. Kelly was on who said that, right? But again, I can understand how Shamia could like confuse what Phaedra said with what Kelly said, because guess what? The key word in that conversation was what? Me.
Yeah, I could get that, but I don't like that notion that Shamia has been the one stirring the pot because y'all got bigger fish to fry. But
Yeah.
we can move past
And
that.
one last thing before we move forward. When Portia and the gang was in the backyard, I did not like the fact that Portia said the door was open for her and Shamia to make up. I've
A
never seen
lie,
that. Did y'all
No,
see that? Like, did I
a
miss
no,
that?
straight up
And
lie.
I wish Michelle would have said it to her face versus saying it in
no,
the confessional.
no. None
Exactly,
of them ladies are
and
gonna
that's why
do that.
that's why. What'd you say, Mark? What'd you say? What'd you say?
None of them are gonna do that. Let's be
Yeah.
honest. No, ain't gonna happen.
But that's why I said about how she's playing the reality TV game. Like, she doesn't really give a damn about Shamia as a friend. Because how can you sit there and say the doors, we could have came back and mended this. And listen, that whole fake preaching that Portia be doing, it really grinds my gears because there's a lot of shit that Portia should have been held accountable for this season, and that she's done it previously, especially a whole like gays going to hell sermon that she did, and now
Oh,
she with a
hold on
woman.
now. Now we gonna have to do a whole season for that.
And
I'm
then
just
she said
saying,
she was
it's a whole bunch she should have been held accountable
destiny
for.
swapping.
However,
And she don't know what it means. Probably.
destiny swapping, please.
They
We ain't
should have
gonna be
asked
done
her, what
tonight.
does it mean?
We ain't gonna be
But no,
done.
but to the point, that's why I was saying about like I do wish, and I think like we were saying, that's why she's playing the long game with reality TV. She's setting up the narrative, and I even said this. Portia leaves out a lot to fit her narrative that she's pushing, but that's just how I feel about it.
Before we kind of like head towards the end, I want to say this, and I was like, "Damn, Portia, you were so petty." And I'm petty like that. I ain't gonna lie, I'm very petty. Y'all know that. When they were waiting to go into like the dinner, and she walked in, and I said, "Oh, girl, you are so fucking petty." I said, "Why I gotta walk next to Shamia?" But then again, it could be because of what happened the previous night. I don't know. I'm just assuming this, right? Because when she walked in, she walked to the side, doing her little 360. I said, "Girl," and Shamia's face was not happy. God, I'm like, this is so
Wearing
fucking
white on
irritating.
somebody else's birthday dinner.
Right. And I mean,
Okay.
I thought that was just petty. That was just petty. Plain blank petty. Like, let's
Yeah.
not. That was petty.
Okay,
And even the
before
dinner
we get
was
to the
smooth.
dinner scene, let's go back to Portia talking to Lauren because I feel like that was important. I feel
Oof.
like, how did
Mm.
y'all feel about Lauren's rebuttals? She
I didn't
said,
like it.
I can't believe she said that, but she also said it's not true.
But
But
can I tell
if
you,
they chopped it up, I was like, shouldn't you have said this is not true first? And then the whole destiny swapping situation, like I just said, I don't even think Portia know what that means. And if she's so holy and spiritual and always preaching, I don't know. To me, people like that should feel like nobody can break the prayers that they're sending up to God and the favor He'll put over their life.
Nah,
So
them
Portia,
check fools
just,
worse.
I just be like, girl, shut up.
I mean, like Willie
think
said, right?
that
A lot of things have been left out. So it's
yeah,
like we are getting like bits and pieces. So honestly, we can only judge or we can only discuss based on what we see, but we know that it's more to the conversation that's not being shown. So it's like, yeah, we like the TV, we like the show, but we also want to get more context. So when we're talking about this, we know what we're talking about. Because now it's just kind of like they give us like 1, 5, 8, 6. So it's like, okay, Where y'all
Yeah.
want us to
And
go?
I think Lauren responded appropriately based on the narrative that Portia set up. Because how do you start a conversation and you say, "We've been having such a good time on the trip," and hold on, wait, baby. No, y'all haven't. Like, come on, like that's why I say I think that she sets up her narrative and then she goes like, "But look at what she did to me," and you left out all this stuff in between that made somebody get to this point. However, that whole destiny swapping comment, I think that Portia, now I be seeing when they used to be saying she don't have a brain, because I used to defend and be like, she do have a brain. Let's
Never defended her
Portia,
with
pull
a
up what
brain.
destiny swapping means. Okay,
All right,
Let the
dinner
church
scene.
say amen.
It's Phaedra's dinner. All the women look nice. Phaedra
Some
and
together.
Portia have on white. You know, at first I didn't really know how I felt about Portia wearing white, but at the end of the day, it is their trip, so I do think it was
that
appropriate.
was D
Um,
class A.
no, it was their
That is
trip,
that is D class A to wear white on somebody's birthday, but that's a whole
but it
separate
was their
conversation.
trip. So that
Let's
is
see.
how
So they probably
I'm
plan it together.
rationing. That's how I'm rationalizing it in my
Yeah,
mind.
but they
It was
plan it
their
together.
trip.
So that's
So they planned it
yeah.
together. So maybe they plan to wear white together. Is how I'm choosing to see it because I don't know why else she would wear white and it's not her
Freaking
birthday.
bro.
But I'm not gonna I'm gonna let that one go.
Okay.
Uh, they start on a conversation. K Michelle is crying because all the surgeries and the doctors are telling her mom and her son that she might die. And then Drew starts crying, revealing that she had not been to her father's grave in 2 years. She leaves. Track star Portia Williams get up and just take off running
Playing that
after her.
reality
I
TV
don't know why
game.
she
It's
did that
nice
either.
though.
You playing that
And
reality
then
TV game.
Shamia starts apologizing, and I was
Apologizing.
so confused. Like, girl, shut up, because she always apologizing. So I don't know. I just think that she shouldn't have done that, and it was confusing and threw everything off. Because when Portia came back in, they were like, "Yeah, we were talking about you." Portia just still paying Shamia dust, and then they
Have
do
y'all
the let
noticed this
fly with
though?
the dancer.
Have y'all
What you say?
noticed this? These ladies be trauma bonding. They
Yeah,
don't really be they don't really be trying to get to know each other because
it's a job.
okay, with the exception of K Michelle, because I'm going to say that conversation about cemeteries, K Michelle's reaction was very understandable. It was very understandable because when she talked about how she is afraid of like death, and I get that. That was understandable. But it almost feels like these women be trying to like see who can piss the furthest. Like they having a struggle Olympics contest right now. Like, well, I was gonna die over here. I ain't been seeing my daddy. I feel this way. I just feel like,
No,
come on,
see,
like
I thought Drew said it because she was moved by the conversation. What threw me off was Portia running. I'm like, why are you running? Let
she's
her have
playing
a
that
moment to
reality
calm.
TV game.
She a runner.
Like,
She a
girl,
truck
you
star.
don't care about Drew, but you like running. I was literally laughing at her.
but
I was like, girl, it's
but
crazy.
you guys know this, right? We know this that production things sometimes we don't see what's happening, right? Somebody could have just said, it happens if they break the fourth wall. I'm not saying that's what happened, but
Yeah,
because it was just very low key random, like they're
random,
running after her. So I'm like,
running a
was like,
latex
yeah, it
dress.
was like a fourth wall situation like that because again, a lot of things have been left out, so it's hard for us to pinpoint.
Yeah,
I mean, we can talk about it
yeah.
all day, right? And especially this episode didn't really. I mean, it was just a little bit like Simone used to like, for the lack of better words, it was a doozy because last week's episode we had a lot to talk about, even just for one scene.
Mhm.
This week's episode is just like, okay, yeah, get your bags, hurry up, come on, get out of Scotland,
So,
come on, go back home.
so
Like,
speaking of this, right? How would y'all rate the episode 1 to 10?
I'll give it like 4.
Ooh,
Yeah, I'll give it a 4 too. To be honest, I felt like I said, I called it a doozy, but I had to watch it multiple times because I would just zone out when I was watching it. Then I would look back at the TV and it would still be on, and I'm like, am I in the Twilight Zone? Because I thought it was over. Like
can
Yeah,
I tell
that's
you
why
what
I
I'm gonna
asked
give
you
it
guys.
for? I'm gonna tell you why I give it a 4. I give it a 4 because there's no way that we should have been at the next day and the day prior to was not discussed between the two people who had the argument. I think that production is letting Portia get away with doing whatever she wants to do and talk about whatever she wants to talk about and don't want to
When
talk
she wants to do
about.
it,
Exactly. But I think that it is no way that they should have not at that dinner table got into what happened and find some resolve. That's why I give it a 4 because it was kind of like, well, you didn't say somebody mama slept with somebody and slept with their daddy and you say she mom slept with her uncles. Well, we not going to hold on, wait now. We need to talk about this.
Yeah, I think Portia should have at least said something. If Shamia apologized to the group, Portia definitely should have apologized to the group because she
Wasn't.
also said some low stuff.
She was.
And
no, they're gonna say who said it first. Let's be honest. They're gonna say who said it first.
yeah, I think Shamia is in a spot like they say between a rock and a hard place. She
Who was
damned if she
fragile?
do, damned if she don't. These
Yeah.
women are not seeing it for her, and that's just what it is. So, like, even with her apologizing, that's not gonna move the needle. I
Nope.
think even if Portia would have said something, they would have been like, "It's okay because Shamia started it." So,
I want
So
her
that's what I'm
to
saying.
really lean. I want Shamia to really lean into her villain role because that's what they're trying to set her for and own it. Be
I
a
think she can do that.
outright bitch.
That's what she cannot do. That's the only
I,
thing she can.
yeah, she's
I
not. She
want her to do
to
it.
me like that's not her personality. One, she comes
She a
across as
Taurus.
a
She
big
gonna do that.
people
We'll
pleaser.
do it.
No, I'm a Taurus. I mean,
I'll do
I
that.
wouldn't mind leaning into my villain era because I
Exactly.
usually stand in what I say. But
Hello?
Shamia, she's different than me. She's a people
I
pleaser,
think
as we see. Like she's trying so hard to have this baby that she don't want to uphold things in her marriage. But I'm not gonna go there because that's not nice. But Shamia needs a good therapist. She needs to really figure out who she is
Simone.
as a woman. What? What?
No, ain't not
What
about to
did I
drag you
say?
for that. No comment. I'm gonna let you have that. No, go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
do
Proceed. You
not think
got it.
she wants another baby. Like, I'm sorry. Like, she went all the trauma that girl that she already went through. I don't think she wants another one, to be honest. And that to me, that's not being mean. That's just looking at it for the reality that it is. Like, she has a child that has extremely special needs. That is hard. What? What? I'm not saying I don't think what I'm saying is bad or mean. This is just like the
Just
reality.
unpopular opinion. That's it.
This is not an unpopular opinion.
Unpopular opinion.
you
Hey,
know what?
whatever. I'm
When you
if
watch,
it's I do
when you
not think she wants another kid.
hold on, when you watch this back, just watch Willie and I's reaction. How we
I
literally just
saw,
went.
I'm like, what? I cannot believe y'all don't agree with this.
Oh,
I'm
we don't agree with that.
Plead the fifth.
shocked.
Plead the fifth.
Wait, what
But
do
I
you call
think
this?
this is
Second
a good
Amendment?
point to
What do you
wrap
gonna
up.
call this?
I think
She
this is a
needs
good
she
point
needs
to
a
wrap up
good
right here.
therapist. She needs a good therapist, and somebody really needs to have a hard, real conversation with her about how she shows up because she, to me, comes off as a people pleaser. She been calling Kelly her best friend. She known her only 1 year. Let her and all her things and her children move into her house.
You and a
I don't
dog?
know anybody in turtles too. I think they said they did. She did say they got turtles. I'm not. I'm for real.
On
That's
that
not.
note, I'm just gonna shut up. Just gonna shut up.
I'm saying Shamia. She just needs to
Let me say this. I
get a
think
good therapist.
Shamia, I think she was introduced to us to be this sweet girl, right? And I do believe she's a very sweet girl and all that stuff, right? And I think for her, if she has to like switch up, then it's like she's making people make her change who she is, or who she was introduced as Shamia. Because let's be honest, she's always been this fun, bubbly girl. I mean, that's all we know Shamia for, right? So I think for someone like that, you got to think about it this way. It's a show that is being watched across the world, right? So if she's going to change herself from who we know her as she is, then she's literally at that point just being an actress, and she is one. So,
But I don't think Shamia is being who she really is. Don't think that.
Really?
No, I do not think that she's being who she really is. I think that, to your point, she's giving us what she was introduced as, and that is who she is sticking with. I rarely think, if I have to look at this cast, and we're going to keep it 100, I don't think any of them are being who they really are.
I agree with that.
I
I
think
don't
it's only
think any of
once in a
them are.
while.
Phaedra
Yeah.
sat in that car and lied and said she ain't been on no dates, and we just saw her ass on Married to Medicine with somebody.
Well, I
Yeah,
mean,
but
Like,
that wasn't real.
yeah. She
That
called
wasn't
them other
real.
bitches. That's what she called them, right? So she's gonna reference them other
no,
bitches.
no, no, no. I'm saying she said that she told the group, the people in the car, that she hadn't been dating anybody since she left Apollo, but she was just on Married to Medicine with
With
that
Chi
guy,
That
the
Chi,
little
guy.
young boy.
that was not real.
I think, but the point is this: they're not showing who they really are. Drew can't
Okay, I'm
even
not.
film. Never mind. We gon'
Yeah,
never
because I
mind.
was about to say something really mean regarding
Nope.
Phaedra, but I was just like, no, that's too mean, Simone. Just keep it
I
in.
think this is a good cutting point.
Yeah, because wait, I'll say this. I don't. I agree with that point. I don't think Portia is being well. I feel like she's 70% being who she is because who she's presenting, I do
But can
think
I just say
this is
this?
how she
I
acts
think
in real life.
I
70%.
think Portia is at a point right now. She ain't got nothing to lose, so she just gonna do. I mean, what does she got to lose right now? Like, let's be honest. Let's be like realistic.
That
What does she
house.
have to lose right now?
That
Oh,
house.
Well, she lost everything already. Well, not really
yeah.
everything,
So
but she
yeah,
quit
but I
her
mean, so it's like she's
time
been
and
there
then
before. Yeah, so she's been through that already, right? So if anything should happen again, she knows how to move, right? So I don't she don't have nothing to lose, honestly. So I'm just gonna do me.
yeah, and Angela. What about that baby?
Yeah,
Tell us
listen.
about the other baby. You all in other people's
Listen, that's
marriages.
what I'm saying. So
Talk about yours.
if we're gonna say who they are, honestly, like we know Portia ain't got nothing to lose. Shamia has a marriage and all this, that she has a whole family. That's more than enough for her to be worried about that, okay? Who else? Let's see, Drew, she's still going through the court stuff. So
Yeah,
that's
Drew, she hiding everything because the things that have came out in the public, like Ralph has full custody. He's the custodial parent, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm like,
Because of
how?
what?
but
Because
How?
why?
he works in
I
tech and
don't
makes
know.
money.
Typically
No, it's not even that. No, no,
they
no. The
said she
report
wasn't
stated
getting the kids full.
exactly. That's what the reports were saying. Is that when she had the kids, they were missing school. Their grades was dropping. But this is what I'm saying when we talk about this cast, and they got so much shit going on, and they're choosing
Kelly
to
with her
dog pile
money.
on one person to reflect away from what they truly have going on in their lives. That's just me.
But also in Drew's case, right? Let's look at it from like a whole different perspective, right? We know she is the one who works the most, right? Versus Ralph, right?
That's not true.
And
I don't know. He has a full-time job, a real job. At first, I
That's
didn't
not
really think
true.
he had a
well,
job.
he said
He
she
does
said
have a
he
job.
he said he does something in tech, right? Because I think that's a conversation he had
Yeah.
with Marlo. Okay, no, what I'm
And
saying is,
They
right?
put his LinkedIn. He has like a real 9 to 5.
Not
I
she
didn't
went
know
on
that.
LinkedIn, Simone. LinkedIn, oh
Yeah,
girl.
they pulled up his LinkedIn. I didn't pull it up. The internet pulled it up. I did
Yeah,
not
and
no,
pull
it's
it
in
up.
the
LinkedIn
court
pulled it up.
documents. He is
Link,
the primary breadwinner.
Yeah, like he has a real job. He's on
Yes,
LinkedIn. Remember that episode? I didn't think he had a job because was it the first season he went on there, or maybe the second? They was like he
Florida
auditioned to
or
be a
Tampa.
Chippendale
Oh
dancer.
Lord, Tampa. Like, oof, Lord, let's not.
I didn't
Let's not.
truly. I didn't know he had a job until all this came out. He was going to
Listen.
Tampa
Yeah.
for X amount of time, not even telling Drew. I didn't think you could do that with a job. Somebody got to know where you are.
like Willie said, it feels like not everyone is being authentic and showing us what they are or who they are. I think that's why some of the other franchises, I love them so much because they just be burning it all with no shame, and they be standing on their 10 toes deep. Even though I can give an example, like Vicky from Orange County, I said, "Girl, Vicky, sometimes you got to shut the fuck up."
Oh, I don't watch them.
Oh, Michael.
No, sometimes she, yeah, this, I'm just gonna save it for a different. But on that note, that's why I say peace.
I think this was a good sweet spot to wrap this up.
Right.
Thank y'all so much for joining us for another episode of the Table for Three podcast, where we are talking all things reality TV, bringing the group chat conversations right here in front of the camera and pop culture's finest. Until next week, I'm Willie,
I'm Simone.
I'm Kabute.
and we are the Table for Three podcast. Thank you for joining us.